Welcome back to my channel. I'm Tanya Ray, and I'm so glad to have you either back or for the first time. I'm grateful for everyone that tunes in, and this is a yes or no reading, but with context. I never give people just a yes or a no because that's not really that useful. I know that sometimes that's what we feel like we really want. I just need this yes, and then I can move on. But sometimes we actually need a little bit more information to keep that yes or no, whatever the desired outcome is. So I do urge you, if you were drawn to listen to this, to stay for your whole reading, even if it starts with the answer you didn't necessarily want. And the reason I'm saying that is because I'm going to do these a little bit different than I have seen other people doing them. I'm not saying that I'm the only one that does it this way, but I've only seen people use the cards for the yes and no. And personally, I'm not a fan of that in my personal practice, that is. So as you can see, I have my trusty pendulum over here, and I will actually be using a pendulum board at the start of each reading, so you will know if it's a yes, no, maybe, or rephrase, because those are the options at the very beginning of the reading. But the context is important, and I've probably been talking about that too much, but I just want to hit that point home. And as always, please don't make something fit that does not feel aligned to you. As I always say, if you are feeling particularly resistant or triggered by something, it might be helpful to take a little bit of a deeper look on your own just to see if there's something there that's trying to show itself to you. And that's not my way of saying that I'm right and you're wrong, because your intuition is going to win out every single time. Okay, so trust that. With that said, let's look into our intuition right now and choose our pile. On the first one, I have a gold stone. The second pile is a desert rose selenite. The third pile is, you can't really tell, but it is a heart, and that's a lepidolite heart. And the fourth one has a mangano calcite. All right, if you need more time, please go ahead and pause this because I'm about to get started on group one. Is this a yes or is it a no? All right, group one, welcome back with the beautiful goldstone. What you're about to see is my pendulum's going to start spinning until it gets to the answer that is correct for group one. And as I'm saying that, it's already doing it. And then it will swing back and forth. And we are getting a very clear, very strong yes for group ones. But let me just ask my pendulum, is this a yes for group ones? And that's giving me a yes because the spinning is actually my yes. So moving on, let's see what the cards have to say. As promised, here is our context. So starting out, we have the Four of Cups, and you might feel in group ones like you're in a bit of a pause or a standstill right now, or as the card says, yearning, disillusion, or boredom. Many of you might be contemplating when the change is happening, or the thing that you're here asking the question about, like when is movement going to happen or something like that. This Four of Cups also feels like it might be a bit of avoidance of actually feeling the emotions that are tied to whatever the situation that you're looking for the yes or no is on. If that's resonating for you, you'll know whether or not that's true for you. And we have the Two of Swords next. This is choices, decisions. I always like to read the actual words on these particular cards. But what I'm getting is the Two of Swords is indicating that this situation with the Four of Cups could be due to being that you're in a crossroads of some sort, or you're refusing to make a decision. So there might be some resistance to actually making a decision, is what I mean. You might be toggling between two very clear choices. In fact, that might have been your initial question, is should I do X, so that you would know whether or not to pursue Y. So if that's you, you've already gotten your yes, but please stick around because there is context here, like I said. Keep in mind that when you keep yourself in indecision, it's a way to keep yourself safe. And that's totally natural. It's not a judgment, but it is what it is. So it's not actually that you don't know how to make forward movement, but that your ego is convincing you that you have the blindfold on and you can't see. And by the way, we're never going to see everything in the future either. That's another sticking point for a lot of us, is I want to know what the outcome is going to be, not just is it going to happen, but what's it going to look like. I think I say this in every reading that Two of Swords comes out, or other cards for that matter, that we're never going to know that for certain. We can't see everything that's happening in the future. And I apologize for the storms and my dog breathing in the background. She does not like the storms, so you might be hearing some of that going on. Keep in mind in this picture that your hands aren't tied, or her hands are actually not tied. So you can take the blindfold off at any moment. And like I said, that's not going to mean that you will see everything. But it can't be the excuse that I just don't know because I can't see it, right? What I'm trying to say is a lot of the times we create this illusion that we can't make the decision because we're blind to the facts, when really, if we tune in, we are going to know what the right answer for us is. And there's really no such thing as right and wrong answer, because we're going to experience something no matter what, but usually there's one path that we would prefer to go down versus others. So justice is coming in, and justice is asking you to look at the decision or decisions you know you need to make and stop second guessing yourself. You will know if you're making the quote unquote right choice. We just talked about that. There's not really such a thing. If it is the one that feels most aligned to you. So this is tuning within. The one that feels like the truth for you. What feels most true? Because that's one of the main themes. We've got balance, equality, and I guess this particular card doesn't say truth, but very much justice is about our truth. This is basically saying take off the blindfold and let yourself see. Trust your intuition on this, but also allow yourself to make decisions from a place that is balanced in both inner knowing and logic. So we're not leaning on just one or the other, but looking at the facts as objectively as we can, as well as what do I know in my heart, and making a decision from there. And if you're at this point and you're saying, what decision? I asked if Bobby is coming back to me. This reading is referencing the need to get clear on what you really want the outcome to be and what that's based in. Because sometimes, especially with this type of situation, and I'm saying this with love, is it really that you want this person back, or is it that you're avoiding the feeling of heartbreak or whatever else comes with that? So having the fear of actually feeling the emotions more so than wanting that person back, because if you look at all of the factors, maybe they weren't actually that great of a partner, or there were red flags or whatever it was. And that's obviously just one example, so you might not be asking about getting back together with somebody, but I think you'll catch the drift. Is there really an avoidance, and that's why you're asking the question, versus, and why you are kind of feeling a little bit stagnant or confused about this situation. This would be why, possibly, is avoiding feeling the emotions of it. And I think we already talked about that with the Four of Cups as well. And speaking of our cups, we've got Eight of Cups, and This is a walking away from something in order to say yes to the new, but it's usually not as painful of an ending as some of the other cards talk about, and especially what I'm feeling with it in its placement coming after Justice. You've already allowed yourself to see where you truly stand. So if you follow this like a roadmap and you go through each of these little phases that we're talking about, or big phases, whatever, you've already allowed yourself to see what is true for you. It's making that conscious choice to walk away from or say no to the things that aren't aiding in you getting to your yes. This is saying yes to yourself, essentially. So, the 8 of Cups, just to reiterate, it's saying yes to yourself and no to other people's opinions on the matter. What is true for you? And then, as you can probably see, I added the Queen of Swords, which is our final card here. And the Queen, like Justice, is reminding you to make decisions with a sound mind. She stands for, in this deck, strength, ambition, and truth. What is actually driving you? The advice from the Queen is make sure that you're not making decisions either from avoiding feeling or from only your emotions. So making a very big emotional choice when you're in the heat of the moment versus allowing yourself to go through this process and see what's actually the best for you. To be clear, your answer is yes, group ones. But it becomes and remains a yes when you allow yourself to see the truth and make sure that you are setting and upholding boundaries around others trying to manipulate the situation or impose their opinions on you when you haven't asked. If yes is not the answer you were hoping for, this message is very clear about your truth. So you can likely flip it to a no depending on the situation, because obviously there are other factors for most of us that are outside of us. Likely you can flip it to a no depending on the individual situation by evaluating what is aligned to you and following that guidance. I hope this blesses you, group ones. Let me know what your takeaways are in the comments or if you have any questions. And I hope to see you soon. Thanks for joining me. Welcome back, group 2. What you're seeing right now is my pendulum's going to start swinging in a circle, and then it will go into a straight line, swinging back and forth for the answer, and it sure looks like it's giving us a clear yes. So I'm just going to ask, is it a yes for group 2? And that is my, wow, this pendulum is kind of out of control, but it is giving me my yes, which is spinning in a circle. So group 2's, your answer is yes, but let's get the context. And please stick around even if you didn't want the answer to be yes, because I will try to provide some insight on how to flip it if it's possible as well, so that you get the outcome that you desire. That's the whole point of me sharing context. A little bit of a spoiler alert for group 2. I would not be surprised after glancing at all of the cards that many of you in group 2 asked a question related to career, finances, or something else of material or monetary value, or maybe even something like, am I going to get that house or something like that? And that's because there's a lot of pentacles in this reading, and we'll just see. If that's not you, if you didn't ask a question like that, please don't leave this reading, because you chose it for a reason. So it's still for you. With that said, we're starting out with the 5 of Pentacles, and many of you in this group might be feeling a bit of lack or scarcity right now, or have had some of those thoughts coming up, and perhaps things have actually been tight, or you've experienced some sort of financial or material loss in the recent past. Or you might just be feeling like, hey, it's struggle bus season right now, and when am I going to get off of it? So hopefully this reading is going to help give you context to that. For those of you who that's not resonating for, and even if that is resonating and you're like, yes, that has been what's been going on, it's more so that the Five of Pentacles is a reminder that you have the resources available to you to create the outcome you want. And sometimes it's just taking a look at the situation and allowing yourself to have a different perspective on it, looking at it through a different lens, if you will, and noticing what you have available to you. So basically what I'm saying about the resources is that you already have them within you to create something different. Just making sure that you're giving yourself some time to look at things maybe in a different way. And that's really being called out too by the Page of Cups, called out lovingly, I should say. Because sometimes the thing that's going to help you the most is reconnecting with your dreams and to believe in magic or miracles more, and that they're available to you. Especially when you allow yourself to have a little bit more fun with life and not take things too seriously, still being serious about it if it's something that's important to you. But sometimes when we are too rigid, that also blocks us. I feel like I've been saying that a lot lately in readings and just in my personal life. Just to go back to this for a minute, having a little bit more fun and believing in magic can really help you to bring those manifestations in, but also to reinvigorate your why, your path, and whatever it is that you're asking about in this reading. That's going to help you to gain clarity, actually, by opening you up. But then we have the Knight of Swords, and in this particular deck, I don't know if you can see that very clearly, but there are words on each of these cards, and this one says highs and lows, conflict and tension. The Knight might be alluding to the fact that there has been some of that going on with your situation that you're seeking guidance on. So the highs and lows, the conflict and tension, maybe like there has been some times when you felt reassured that things were going to go one way, or you were real confident about that, and then they took a turn and went the exact opposite way. This is also a reminder that the Knight is associated with taking action, and the Knight keeps pushing and moving and doing the things to create the reality that he wants. So this is your reminder to keep doing that, to keep taking the action on the things that matter to you. The Knight does not back down, and while there is absolutely no need to be placing yourself in unnecessary conflict, don't forget your why and keep taking action on your goals from the heart space. That's what the Page of Cups is talking about, and the Knight is that determination. So if you felt like your determination has been waning lately, it's time to connect back in with truly, why am I doing this thing? Why do I want this thing? Etc. And continuing to take the action, you're going to get there, because as you keep that momentum up, the Nine of Pentacles is like, hey, you are almost here. What are you doing? Get over here. You're about to experience success, and it could come in the form of financial abundance because we're talking about pentacles. But whatever you are questioning, this is the sign that you're going to receive the outcome that you're hoping for, and that whatever hardship might be being referenced in the Five of Pentacles is about to be a thing of the past, and it's because you're moving into a life of comfort. But keep in mind that this is a journey, meaning these cards here are a journey. So if you're more over here, use these as stepping stones to get here. You're not quite there yet. That's why you haven't experienced it yet. And just make sure that you're looking at where you might not be taking action, or you're stuck in fear. I'll say it again, remind yourself of why you want the thing and are doing all of this in the first place. Those of you who have felt like you've been too dependent on others or on circumstances that feel out of your control, this is a sign that independence is going to be knocking on your door soon as well. So good news there. You won't have to feel like things are out of your control anymore. And then we have the Queen of Pentacles popping in saying, hey, I don't think you heard Tanya, because she just said that abundance, success, and independence is coming your way, but I had to make an appearance. So how can you step into this version of yourself now, the one that has everything that you've been asking for, and you're not afraid to keep nurturing those dreams? Or should I say that you are willing to do it scared? Because that's really how we do it, right? It's not that the fear goes away, but we choose to do it anyway. We choose to move forward and work towards the things that we desire in our lives, even through the fear, because we know that at the end of it, the reward is bigger than the potential fears that are being, pushed at us by our ego, for lack of a better way of saying it. For those of you who have a question about finances or material abundance or anything like that, it's a very clear yes that things are going to change for you, and likely for the better. If you didn't have a question about finances, still a clear yes. And if you did not desire a yes as the outcome to your question, the way that you might be able to change it to a no is honestly pretty much the same as the path to the yes. And what I mean by that is get clear on what really matters to you and take actions that feel heart aligned. Trust that whatever situation you're in, if it's less than ideal, is not permanent. That's very much what these cards are saying. I hope this reading blesses you. It's currently 3:33, so that's fun. And let me know what your takeaways are, and maybe even what kind of readings you would like to see next. I hope to see you soon, and have an amazing day. Welcome back, Group 3. What you're about to see is my pendulum should start spinning around in a circle until it gets to the answer that it wants, and then it will swing back and forth. It looks like it's saying yes to me, and I'm going to ask just, pendulum, can you give me a clear yes? My clear yes, if it's a yes for Group 3. Okay, yes, that's my yes. So your answer is yes, Group 3. If you did not want a yes, then please stick around, because I will try to give some context as to how you can potentially flip the answer to a no if it's at all possible. And as well as, like I said, the context is for the purpose of ensuring that you get the outcome that you really truly want, whether it is yes or no. Group 3, I wanted to do something a little bit different with your reading and show all of the cards at one time, because this particular deck has words on the cards, themes, and I just really want to read them all to you at one time, and then I'll give you a little bit more of a reading. But first we have the Three of Cups coming out. Keep in mind, I think you haven't forgotten, but your answer is yes. Three of Cups is family, friends, joy, and abundance. And then we have the King of Swords, which is ambition, power, and influence. The Ten of Swords is endings, final, and closure. But the Knight of Pentacles is prosperity, benefits, investments. And the Ten of Cups is prosperity, joy, family, and contentment. So there's a lot of repeating themes going on here. We've got family, we've got prosperity, and joy, and just that overarching energy of abundance in a lot of this, as well as some other things that we're going to discuss. So let's actually look into these cards a little bit more. It is really feeling like maybe a number of you chose group 3 because your question pertains to family, friendships, or other relationships in some way. I am getting those vibes a little bit. But even if you don't, or you didn't ask a question like that, or have a situation like that right now that is concerning you, I'm willing to bet that your family and friends play a key role, or your partner play a key role in the yes or no question in some way, as maybe a support system. As let's get into that actually. So the 3 of Cups is likely here to remind you to connect with your support system in regard to the question you have for this reading. This might be like a girls or guys night out just to have a little bit more fun and bring that back in, or, family fun night too. I usually read the 3 of Cups more so as friendships though. In this deck, like I said, it does talk about family. Or it could be reaching out to them to help you process any emotions around the situation that you're asking about, or just to receive some advice, some guidance. So connecting in with your friends and family. And then we have the King of Swords. And if the 3 of Cups is more of that playful, fun energy, I would say that the King is all about business. So what I'm gathering from this dynamic is the situation that you're in is calling for balance, a balance of enjoying and embracing the journey, and also acting from a place of logic and practicality. There may be a need also to look a little bit deeper at the question that you're asking in accordance to this reading, and not only why are you seeking the guidance, but why do you want the answer you desire, and just looking at that a little bit closer just to see what the truth behind the situation is when you're looking at it with a clear head, or as clear of a head as you can. As non-biased as you can be, if you will. I know when it's your own situation, that's really hard to be neutral, but as neutral as you can look at the situation could be helpful. That's just what's coming up, honestly. And 10 of Swords, it's time to let go of the past hurt that was surrounding this situation or question that you're asking. The 10 of Swords is very clear that it's time to close the door so that new things can begin. While the 10 can be painful, the cards surrounding it suggest that group 3s are going through a time of healing, and that things are going to be just fine when you choose to say, enough is enough. I'm closing the chapter to start a new one. In other words, the guidance here is to look at the situation you are seeking clarity on and make sure that there aren't any old cycles that need to come to a close before that can happen, before it can come into fruition. Also, these things could be, what I'm getting is it could be past events, limiting beliefs, some sort of mindset thing that needs to shift, as well as it can be the holding on to the weight of other people's opinions. So just really looking at that and making sure that that's all cleared out so that you can have a fresh start and set yourself up for success. Knight of Pentacles. Now is the time to take grounded action on your goals or whatever your question is about. And when I say now, I mean assess where you are in these phases. If there's still some releasing, maybe some connection or some truth to be had, do those steps first. But once you've looked at that, step into the Knight of Pentacles energy and take the action. The Knight of Pentacles is asking, how can you build a structured path or a structured way of bringing about the outcome that you want, and then taking action on that and continuing to take action on that, not giving up because it's not coming in right away. This could be a sign that it is going to take a little bit of work before you get there, though, before you get your yes, if that's what you're seeking. It's because you're doing it right and building a solid ground so that you'll be able to experience the joys of your success for a long time. So a solid foundation. And then we have the Ten of Cups right next to it. And the fact that there are two tens in this reading indicates to me that cycles are about to complete, or that things are close to coming into fruition. I know I just said it might take a little bit of time, which I still stand by, but that's the end of the road. It's the end of the cycle. So things are trying to come into fruition is what I'm trying to say. Remember that I did say that the Knight and the Ten of Cups at the beginning of the reading have the word prosperity associated with them. So, as well as the Three of Cups has abundance on it. So there's a good chance that if you have a question that has to do with finances or anything like that, wealth is coming in, abundance is coming in. Things are about to pay off in a positive way, if you will. Don't worry if you're not asking anything about wealth or money or relationships like I've already mentioned, because this reading is still for you. There are still pieces to take from it. The Ten of Cups indicates that this outcome is creating balance and harmony in your life, as well as it's creating, or it will create, emotional fulfillment. So whatever this situation is, it definitely feels like not only is it a yes, but it's in some ways for your greater and higher good. Again, I was talking about relationships and family. So if you have a question about that, this is a sign, the Ten of Cups is a sign that with healthy communication, the connections can only be strengthened. And like I said, group 3, you are a clear yes. The main highlights here are keep taking action and be aware that there may be a bit more work left to do before the yes comes in. Namely, continuing to take the action, but also making sure that you check in with yourself on any resistance to closing the doors that no longer serve you to be open. If the answer you were seeking was a no, like I shared in I think all of the other readings so far, the most likely way to remedy it is following this journey that the cards have brought us on and creating the outcome you want where possible by being honest with yourself about what needs to be seen, actioned, and or expressed. So there's a very clear theme. Whoops. This is why if you've noticed that the cards shift a little bit, I keep pulling on the tablecloth. But in terms of your no, looking at where are you holding on to things, or if you want to know, I should say, where are you not seeing clearly? Maybe you're being asked right now to step up and ask for help and ask for guidance. Or maybe there are people in your life, this one's coming up too, where they're waiting for you to help them. I don't know where that's coming from, so maybe, I don't know. Maybe for someone you needed to hear that. That was your go ahead to reach out. With that said, this is your reading for group 3. Let me know how you're feeling about it. What are your takeaways? What are your comments? And bonus points if you leave me a comment about any suggestions for what types of readings you would like to see next. I hope you have an amazing day, and I'll see you soon. Welcome back, group number 4. What's happening right now is it's going to start spinning so that it can bring itself to where it needs to go, and then it will start rocking back or swinging back and forth when it gets the answer, which it looks like it's doing right now. It very much looks to me, very much looks like a no, but let me just ask for confirmation. Can you give me a clear no if the answer is no for group 4? And yes, that is my clear no. So the answer is no for group 4, but please stick around because I will give you all the context that I can. And if you were really hoping for a yes, hopefully I'll give you some insight on how you can turn that around if possible as well. All right, group 4, I had to zoom out because for whatever reason, 6 cards wanted to come out for your reading specifically, and everyone else got 5. Your answer as a group for yes or no was no. But let's unpack this a little bit more. I strongly suggest that you listen to this whether you got the answer you wanted or not. First thing that I'm getting from the Four of Pentacles is, are you holding on too tightly to one particular outcome or way of thinking, being, or doing? This card is indicating that there's a block imposed by trying to over-control the situation due to fear of loss in some way, fear of failure, whatever, however you want to interpret that, or whatever resonates for you. So the advice of this card is to consider, if you were to loosen your grip, would that open you up to new possibilities for creating what you truly desire. Now, if you did want the no, congratulations, but it's still worth looking at because this is coming up and it's actually going to be a pretty strong theme in this reading, it's still worth looking at whether or not you are really holding very tightly onto this being the outcome. All right, so the Devil is the next card. And in this particular reading, the Devil could be a sign that the thing that you are asking for is simply not for you. There's something like really misaligned, or it's just not really for your best interest. But to take it further, perhaps this is another reiteration of what I said about the Four of Pentacles, that you're holding on too tightly, too rigidly, and by clinging that tightly, it's actually entrapping you in regard to the situation and perhaps repeating cycles that seem endless. But the reality is that you can bring the cycles to an end when you release the attachment to a particular outcome. So if you can release that attachment, or at least loosen up on it, then things might be able to move. Also, the Devil does warn about taking a closer look at your behaviors, and if you're engaging in anything that is unhealthy, in order to avoid looking at this situation and or feeling your emotions around it. So this could look like overspending, overeating, gambling, what have you. Anything that's addictive or potentially destructive to your physical, mental, emotional, or spiritual well-being, and any that I might have missed in that list. Your overall well-being, put it that way. Then we have the Page of Pentacles, and if you choose to let go of the rigidity a little bit and stop clinging so much, take a deep breath. I felt like I was holding my breath that whole time, so some of you may really need to take a deep breath. Let that out. It's actually going to open new possibilities up. It has the potential of creating something that's better and more aligned with you than what you're currently envisioning. So while at the start of this reading I indicated that the answer is no, it feels like it could be no because there's something better for you out there. Or that this situation is a no, not yet, but because there's things that are out of alignment right now. And that could be, like I said, behaviors or attachment and that kind of thing, being too rigid. Or if you're not really resonating with the rigidity part, look at your emotions. And are you bottling things up? Are you using this as a distraction so that you don't have to move forward, etc.? Look at all of that stuff too. Okay, Judgment. So group 4s, you seem to be on a path where you're about to awaken to bigger truths about yourself, and whatever you initially asked in this question, in some ways it feels like it's been a distraction whatever this situation is has been a distraction from what's truly aligned to you. Which I think I might have said with the Page of Pentacles as well. But Judgment assures you that once you let go of the attachment and trying to control it, you'll soon experience acceptance, and it won't feel so constraining. You won't feel like you have the cuffs on that are usually presented in the Devil card, because it's literally opening you up, and you're going to have more awareness of what is actually aligned to you, what is actually for you. And then we have the Three of Wands. The Three of Wands says, hey, group 4, it's time to dream bigger and understand that when you choose to focus on following a path that is aligned to you, that you're going to win big time. The journey isn't over, but just beginning, but embrace the adventure of life more, and perhaps even traveling is coming up. So maybe traveling will help you gain a deeper perspective on where you want to go from here. Just a word of caution though, make sure that you're not using travel or, the adventure of life, whatever you're embracing from this energy of this card, that you're not using it as a distraction from feeling your feels around the situation in question. This is giving a no, not yet energy. So very possible that your answer can be a yes in the future, but for your own sake, please do not skip the steps. Look at where you're trying to potentially over control something, or you're just like really in your head about this and it's taking hold of your life. Like, if that's not the outcome, I don't know what I'm going to do, sort of thing. And where you're too attached in general to it being a certain way. We have the Hierophant. I'm pretty sure I say that different in every single reading. My apologies, or every time I say it. The Hierophant is giving me the vibe of no, it's not yet as well. Or sorry, it's a no, not yet as well. It seems that perhaps more planning and structure, patience is needed to create your yes, if that's what you truly desire. Also, perhaps there's more knowledge or perspective that can be gained, or that kind of needs to come in. Like, maybe you don't have all of the context yet of the situation, and that's why it hasn't come into fruition yet. Perhaps you need a broadened perspective or more knowledge. You don't have enough of the information yet for this to be a yes. So if it truly is aligned to you to be a yes in the future, now is the time to go through all of this and look at, where do I need more awareness? What needs to be brought to my awareness around this and all of that? And that's likely what the Hierophant is saying. But on the flip side of that, because he is all about structure and tradition, he can sometimes, in my mind, come off as a bit stuck in his ways or set in his ways. And we've already talked a lot about this. This is something that you don't necessarily want to do, group 4s, is be very rigid. There is a need for flexibility here and some openness. So make sure that you're not constricting more and using this as the excuse to do so. I think this whole reading has been very clear that if you wanted the answer to be yes, the cards are mapped out for a path for you to follow to get there, or to hopefully get there, if that's what's meant for you. However, if you were hoping for a no, like I said, congrats, and I just want to remind you, I would still say pay attention to anything that came up in this reading where you're holding on too tightly to the answer being no, because the journey that the cards took us on is for you as well. So just pay attention to that, because there might be a real reason why the theme in this reading is so strong of clinging and being a little bit too rigid. I know that the message resonates for me in my life, and where can I be a little bit more flexible? Thank you so much for letting me read for you. I hope the reading resonates and helps you to move forward on your path. let me know what your takeaways are in the comments, and bonus points if you share with me what types of readings you would like to see in the future on this channel. Thank you so much, and see you next time.